So, what are the key languages you must understand about the financial statement of a business? Now, this is important for entrepreneurs, business owners, and individuals learning basic accounting issues. And how do you recognize and account for all of these key elements of the financial statement? Now, if you pick any entity at all, maybe you want to even invest in a company, you want to buy shares in a company listed on the stock exchange. What are the few things you have to be mindful of? Everything on the financial statement can be categorized into 5 or 6 things, and you must know what these things represent, and most importantly, how these things are accounted for, recognized in the books of an entity, in order for you to then understand and appreciate the financial position or the financial performance of an entity. Now, 2 things I want you to quickly understand. When we talk about the financial performance of an entity, we are just looking at for the year ended. Let's say from January to December, if the year ended of the entity is 31st December, from January to December, what has been the performance of the entity? How much revenue did they generate? What are the other income they got? How much expenses did they incur? What is their profit? What's their losses? What other income did they generate at the end of the day? That is the financial performance. The financial position talks about the assets, liabilities, and equities of the entity. It is showing how much the entity controls in terms of its assets and how much the entity owes in terms of its liabilities. And most importantly, how much is left for the equity shareholders, or if you want, the ordinary shareholders. So it means that from that, you realize that there are 6 key elements of the financial statement that you need to understand. The first one that I want us to talk about is assets. Now, when we say assets, what are assets? In a simple language, from KG2, you might have learned that assets will be things that belong to an entity, things that you own, right? So you say, hey, this is my asset. The car is my asset. The building is my asset. The phone is my asset. Yeah, that is true to some extent. But from accounting perspective, assets are resources controlled by an entity. The key word here is controlled. So not necessarily owned by the entity, but the entity controls it. So once an entity controls once an entity controls a resources, then it means that becomes an asset of the entity. Now let's dive a little deeper into this. So when we say an entity controls a resources, what does that mean? It means 2 things. Number 1, it means that the entity directs the usage of that resources. And then number 2, it means that the significant economic benefit of service potential, meaning that the revenue, the income, the purpose of that particular resources flows to the entity or serves the entity on the overall. That is what we mean by controlling the resources. So in the accounting environment, if you take the financial position of an entity, or what do you call the balance sheet of an entity, and you look at their balance sheet and you're like, oh, the entity has a lot of assets. Yes, the entity can have a lot of assets in its books, but that doesn't mean all those assets actually belong to the entity or the entity owns them. Because the recognition of assets is not about ownership, it is about controlling. And that is one thing you must understand, because sometimes there are people who are like, oh, if you check the balance sheet of this entity, you check the statement of financial position of this entity, Charlie, their asset base is huge. Yes, you can see an entity and they will have a significant asset base, but about 50, 60, 70% of the assets they have are actually not something they own because they have leased the asset. Because they control it. And once you control it, you can recognize it in your books. So that is the first key element you must understand, assets. What does that mean? It means that when you take the statement of financial position of an entity and you are looking at the assets, don't just look at it and say, wow, this company has a huge asset base. You want to be interested and look at the notes to the financial statement, because the notes to the financial statement will give you a breakdown of which of the assets the entity has actually leased and which of those assets the entity actually owns. Now, what it means then is that in any bankruptcy or liquidation process, those assets that the entity has leased, they are not the entity's asset. The entity doesn't own them. And so the lessor, the original owner, will come for those assets. Then you realize that, The actual asset that the entity has at their disposal is just about 30% of the total assets of the entity. But that is the first thing you must understand. And so from that angle, assets can be divided into two major groups. So we have what we call non-current assets and then current assets. Now, non-current assets are the assets whose economic useful life or service potential goes beyond one accounting year. So things like a delivery van is a non-current asset. Things like a patent, a trademark, a franchise, these are non-current assets because their service potential will go beyond one accounting year. So let's say I want to open a franchise, a KFC franchise somewhere in Takoradi. So I will go to the KFC headquarters in the United States and then buy the KFC franchise. Maybe it depends. Give and take, it could be maybe $1 million. And that allows me to use the KFC branding, KFC, everything in the franchise for maybe 10 years. So that becomes what? A non-current asset. We'll come back to the categorization in a moment. So that is non-current assets. The economic benefit or service potential go beyond one accounting year. Current assets, on the other hand, are assets whose economic benefits are consumed within one accounting year. So something like inventory. So the goods that we sell, it's an inventory. That is a current asset because mostly we expect that the inventories will be sold within the next 12 months. Right? Trade receivables, people who we sell to on credit, we expect that they will pay us within the next 12 months. So that is a current asset in respect of that. Our cash we have in hand or our bank balance that we have, that will be part of what? Current assets. So that is the two broad categorization, non-current assets and then current assets. Now, even under the non-current assets, we can further divide it into tangible non-current assets and then intangible non-current assets. So what do we mean? Tangible non-current assets are the non-current assets which you can see, touch, they have physical substance. So like the delivery van is a tangible non-current asset. A building is a tangible non-current asset. An equipment, tangible non-current asset. Furniture, tangible non-current assets. Computers, tangible non-current assets. Right? Then the intangible non-current assets are the non-current assets without physical substance, like patent. So we patent an idea. It's an intangible asset in respect of that. The franchise example I gave earlier, franchise is an intangible asset. Okay, we buy a copyright. It's an intangible asset. And so the assets without physical substance are referred to as intangible assets. So basically, these are the things that you must understand. Now, it is important to understand that the type of the asset determines how it is going to be accounted for. And so later on, we are going to be diving deeper into some of the few things that you must understand. So for instance, when it comes to the tangible non-current assets, all the tangible non-current assets that we use in the day-to-day running of our business will be referred to as owner-occupied non-current assets. And that will be accounted for in accordance with IAS 16, property, plant, and equipment. So the delivery van we use to deliver our goods, that's an owner-occupied non-current asset. The office building that we use for our head office or our showroom, that is an owner-occupied non-current asset. The office furniture, that is an owner-occupied non-current asset. So for all such assets, they will be accounted for in accordance with IAS 16, property, plant, and equipment. But then sometimes entities control assets which they don't use in the day-to-day running of the organization. So sometimes these assets are rented out or leased out under an operating lease, or the assets are held for capital appreciation. So maybe the entity buys a building and the entity is holding on the building because the value of the building will go up and then they want to sell it later. Or they have acquired a land and they are holding on the land that the value of the land will go up, then they can sell it later. Or the entity is undecided on what to use the building for or what to use the land for. So resources, the assets that the entity controls, which they are undecided what to use it for, which they are renting or leasing out under an operating lease, are going to be treated as investment properties, and they are going to be accounted for in accordance with IAS 40 investment property. So that is the first thing you must understand: assets. So it's a very broad discussion area that we will get into in the series as we build up our knowledge in respect of these. But these are the things that you must understand. Now, even under the current asset situation, expenses prepaid is also a current asset. So let's say that you pay your rent in advance. So you pay rent for, say, 4 years. All right. Now, at the end of this year, it means you still have 3 years to go. So for that, rent prepaid will be treated as a current asset. For professional presentation purposes, we could even classify that into non-current asset and current asset, so that the next rent amount within the next 12 months will be current, so that the balancing figure will go to non-current in respect of that. So expenses prepaid will usually be treated also as what? Current assets. Then income owings can also be regarded as current assets. What do we mean by income owing? Income owings are money that people are supposed to give you, but they have not given you yet. So that is also a current asset. Maybe you invested in a company and they have declared dividend and the dividend has not been paid yet. That is income owing. That will be part of current assets in the books of the entity. So that's the first element that we must understand: assets. So you realize that that alone has a significant implication on the way we present the statement of financial performance, and then the way we present the statement of financial position. But that's the first element you must understand. So if you learned something from this video, remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share the video so that others can also see this. Most importantly, let me hear from you if there are any questions you have, or if you have any topic that you would want me to cover on the next episode. Leave it in the comment section. I want to read from you. If you want to enroll as well in our courses to study under my mentorship for your ICA, ACCA, SEMA, or ICAG examination, you can head on to our website, NhyiraPremium.com, or download the Nhyira Premium mobile application on the Google Play Store or the App Store to complete your enrollment. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp or call us 050-114-9296. 050-114-9296. Complete your enrollment today to join our community. Let me hold your hand, provide you with the blueprints that you need with the team here. Let us assist you. This is our mission. This is what we do. This is what we are called for. And we have the resources, the skills, the expertise needed to help you to pass the examination. So visit our website, NhyiraPremium.com, to read more about us. Or better still, download the Nhyira Premium mobile application on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. You want to get personal? Hit us with a DM or send us a message on WhatsApp 050-114-9296. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.